Good afternoon, everyone. So I can see that the most of the participants are here. So I think we can start the webinar. So welcome, everyone. Thank you for joining my webinar. The topic today is COVID-19 business support update, a very hot topic nowadays. So over the last couple of weeks since the pandemic started, the Irish government announced many forms of support for small businesses and employees as well. And I have to say that really there is a lot of information coming from many sources, and it may feel quite difficult to follow. And it may feel overwhelming as well. So I thought it would be a good idea to gather everything together and to make it easier for you. Today, I'm going to give you some guidance on what forms of financial support you can get if your business was affected by the pandemic. And just to let you know, I want you to know that this information is sourced from official government websites and also social welfare, companies registration office, local enterprise office, Microfinance Ireland, Enterprise Ireland, and so on. So I just want to assure you that this information is reliable. We are going to, what's the agenda for today? We are going to cover the most important aspects. I think it's the best thing to do now is to give you an overview, a broader overview of several forms of help that you can receive. But I'm really afraid that we will not have enough time to go through each of them in very detail. But I will send you links to the relevant websites, which I will be mentioning through this presentation. And you can always go there and get more information. Apart from that, you can always email me if you have more detailed queries. And I also want you to know that this webinar is recorded, and all of you will receive an email with a link to the video a day or 2 days after the webinar. So no need to worry about taking notes during the presentation. So what is the agenda? First of all, I'm going to go through a quick introduction of myself and my company. Then we are going to talk briefly about the current situation with the virus, with COVID-19. I'm going to outline what support is available for businesses in Ireland, and then we will move on to talk in more detail about social welfare support, then about updates from the Revenue Office, about access to funding, and other support for businesses. Finally, we are going to do a quick conclusion and summary, and we will wrap it up. Introduction. My name is Anita Sajkiewicz. I am a founder and owner of a digital practice, which is called Nimbus Accounting Limited. It is a small family business, and I started it around a year ago. Prior to that, I spent over 20 years working in industry in big multinational companies of different sizes. I gained experience in various financial and management accounting roles. I am a chartered accountant, ACCA, and my company is also a member of the Association of Chartered Certified Accountants. What is our mission? It's quite simple. We help digital businesses across Ireland understand their numbers and manage business money by providing outsourced cloud accounting and virtual CFO services. I just want to mention here that we are not just traditional year-end accountants who prepare your annual accounts, tax returns, and look after the bookkeeping and payroll and so on. On top of that, we provide our clients with ongoing support to help them manage finances in their business and to help them navigate through difficult time like the crisis we are experiencing at the moment. What's the current situation with COVID-19? I am sure you follow the news every day, and there is no need for me to repeat everything. I'm sure you are fully aware of how serious the situation is. So recently, the restrictions have been tightened even further, and we have entered a full lockdown phase since Friday, the 27th of March at midnight. It feels quite scary, I have to say. And in fairness, I have to admit that I really underestimated this virus. I thought that people were just panicking, that it would be something similar to the swine flu that was here a couple of years ago. I was sure there was nothing too wrong about, but I couldn't be more wrong. So, my friends, the most important thing at the moment is to look after yourselves and your families. That's number one, no question about it. But you also have to think about your business, the business you are running. I know that you probably worry a lot. You have a lot of questions like, is it going to survive this crisis? Will it have sufficient money to continue? Will I have to lay people off? There are surely loads of questions. But worrying constantly and just sitting and waiting is really not going to help. You can still get support for your business. So the best thing to do now is to learn about this help and act quickly. What support is available for businesses in Ireland? The government announced many forms of support for small businesses and as well employees as well in our country. So I have to say that I am really impressed by what they have done and how they are trying to support everyone during this pandemic. So what support is available? I'm going to run through the list just quickly for the moment to highlight what sort of help you can get in each particular area. Then we will move on to talk about each of them in more detail. So number one, social welfare support. I think that's the most interesting part for majority of people in the country. So the Department of Employment and Social Protection prepared a range of measures to provide income support to people affected by the pandemic. So the main schemes people and businesses will be interested in is COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment, COVID-19 enhanced illness benefit, short-time work support scheme, and I will also give you some information about the changes in how the social welfare payments are made at the moment. Next, we are going to talk about support from the revenue. This is the one major topic about temporary COVID-19 wage subsidy scheme. It will be of interest to any business owners who employ people. Next, I'm going to talk about filing tax returns and what changes the Revenue Office have implemented, and also about tax payments and penalties. How can you get funding for your small business? I guess that is the most interesting part of the presentation for many of you. So the following state institutions have prepared a number of financial support options for small businesses. And the information I'm going to talk about comes from official websites, local enterprise office, Enterprise Ireland, and government websites, and so on. So we are going to talk about Business Continuity Voucher from local enterprise office, COVID-19 loans from Microsoft Ireland, Enterprise Ireland support, and also financial support from the Department of Business, Enterprise and Innovation, and from SBCI, I'm sorry. We are going to go through other forms of support, like banking and loan repayments, commercial rates deferral, and also updates from, I'm going to give you some updates from companies registration office in relation to companies, mainly limited companies operating in Ireland. So the first area, let's start with talking about support from the Department of Social Protection, simply social welfare. And the number one scheme, COVID-19 pandemic unemployment payment. This is the most important one, I guess. So just to talk briefly through it, this is a payment of €350 per week. It is available to all employees and also self-employed people who have lost their job due to the pandemic. The payment will be in place for the whole duration of the crisis. Who can qualify? So as I mentioned already, employees and self-employed people, both of them. The age has to be between 18 and 66 years. They have to live in the Republic of Ireland. And employees who have lost a job due to the pandemic and self-employed people who ceased trading due to the pandemic. That's an important factor. A self-employed person has to cease trading because of the pandemic in order to qualify for the payment. So literally the business has to be closed. And one more important condition, the qualifying people have had to be in employment or self-employment immediately before Friday, the 13th of March, 2020. So as I said earlier, the flat rate of the payment is €350 per week for the duration of the pandemic. And originally it was set at a rate of €203, but it was increased by the government on the 24th of March. It will be paid for up to 12 weeks. Originally, it was to be paid for up to 6 weeks. How can you apply? The best and the quickest way is to apply online through My Welfare website. In order to do that, you need to have a so-called MyGov ID, but it's quite easy to set up. You can also do it online with a couple of clicks. Alternatively, you can download an application form from Social Welfare website and you can send it by post. And just to give you a couple of recent updates, tens of thousands of people who have lost their job as a result of the pandemic were due to receive their first benefit payment this week on the 31st of March on Tuesday. Social Welfare has communicated that they processed about 400,000 applications. That's really a huge amount, unprecedented amount. They processed all of them, and they also pointed out that many people did not qualify. So it appears that people assume that they can qualify, they submit the application, and then they are quite surprised they didn't receive the payment. So if you have applied but you did not receive a payment, it means that either your application had errors or you did not qualify. That's what they are explaining. They processed every application until now. But the good thing is that if you still think you qualify, you can reapply just by following the same procedure. COVID-19 enhanced illness benefit. So this is an illness benefit payment for people who have been diagnosed with COVID-19 or people who have to self-isolate. The weekly payment is at a higher rate, flat rate of €350. It's higher than €203 for a normal illness benefit. And it is available for both employees and self-employed. This illness benefit will be paid for a maximum of 2 weeks if a person is self-isolating, and for a maximum of 10 weeks if a person has been diagnosed with COVID-19. Who can qualify? An important notice here is that this person must be self-isolating on the instruction from a doctor or has to be actually diagnosed with COVID-19. The person must be absent from work or stay at home if self-isolating. So in order to apply, the procedure is similar to a normal illness benefit. You need to be certified by your GP. They will issue you with a medical certificate, and then the completed certificate needs to be sent to social welfare in a usual way. Short-time work support scheme. So what is it about? This scheme has been in place for quite a long time, so it doesn't differ really from what was already in place. They are just letting you know that you can also avail of it if you need it. So if this is the case that you have to reduce working hours in your business, your employees may be eligible to apply for this scheme. This is an income support payment. It is similar to job seekers benefit. So for any days that an employee is not working, they will receive a supporting payment for the remaining days. The rate will be proportional of the maximum job seekers benefit weekly payment of €203. So for instance, if someone worked 2 days per week, they will receive 2/5 of the full rate of €203, which makes about €81. So who can qualify? As I said earlier, employees whose working hours have been reduced on a temporary basis, employees who previously worked full-time and now work 3 days or less, and they have to satisfy other normal conditions for receiving job seekers payments. So what is the best way to apply? Similarly to the previous unemployment payment, you can apply through My Welfare website. That's the quickest way. And of course, you can find more information on the website itself. Just to let you know here that there has been some changes in relation to social welfare payments. The department announced on the 19th of March that social welfare payments will be paid on 2-week basis. So not every week, every 2 weeks. This reduces the need for people to leave home. Obviously, we are in a lockdown phase, and also reduces the burden on social welfare employees who are processing the payments. So the new measure will apply to both people who collect the payments at post offices and to people who are paid into their bank accounts. So if you used to receive the payment into your bank account every week, you will get it every 2 weeks. If you used to go to a post office to collect your payment every week, you need to go every 2 weeks now. So the double payment will be made on some social welfare schemes starting on the 23rd of March, so it was made already, and then they will continue with other schemes. Let's move on to the support provided by our taxation office, the revenue. So the major scheme, the most important one, I think, is the temporary COVID-19 wage subsidy scheme. This scheme enables employees affected by the pandemic to receive really significant supports directly from their employer. This scheme is expected to last for about 12 weeks from March 26th. It was introduced on the March 26th. It is now in operation. It is available to employers, that's a very important one, who keep their employees on payroll throughout the pandemic. So they want to prevent laying employees off. They want the employers, small business owners, to keep their employees on payroll. And also it is easier to facilitate the payment of the scheme, just to process it through employers' payroll. So this wage subsidy scheme replaces the previous COVID-19 employer refund scheme. And what's more important, the amount of the refund was significantly increased from 203 per employee. So what are the key features of the scheme? So the maximum amount of the refund is €410 per each qualifying employee per week. It is from the 26th of March. Employers have to make this payment through their payroll. This is very important. I mentioned it already. The payment has to be processed through payroll. Then revenue will refund the payments directly to the employer's bank account. They promise to do it within 2 working days, which I hope they will keep the promise. And starting from late April, the subsidy payments of 70% of the weekly net pay will be introduced. and the maximum is again 410 euro per week. What is very beneficial that these payments are free from income tax, universal social charge, or PRSI. It will not apply to these subsidy payments. Who can qualify? Who does it apply to? So all employers from all sectors whose business has been affected by COVID-19. As I already said, employers who retain the staff on payroll, and also the employers have to experience at least 25% reduction in revenues due to COVID-19. So your sales, your turnover has to reduce by at least 25% in order to qualify for this subsidy scheme. And one more, also you are not able to pay the wages in full. And one more important condition, the employees have to have been on payroll as of 29th of February. And the payroll submission for them has already been made to the revenue in the period from the 1st of February to the 15th of March. How can you apply? Employers can apply themselves, or their agents, tax agents or accountants can apply on their behalf through ROS service on the revenue website. So first, employers have to register their interest to participate in the scheme. They can do it through ROS services. And then the subsidy payment has to be processed through payroll in a normal way. Well, not in a normal way. There are certain measures and technical aspects of how to process it through payroll. So if you do your payroll yourself, your payroll provider should be able to advise you on how to do it. And if you outsource your payroll, obviously they will know how to deal with that. And also Revenue provides a lot of useful information, very detailed information about the scheme. There are detailed PDF guides on their website. You can download them and read through it. It's quite a, there's a lot of information, detailed information about that. And I don't think it's a good idea to pack everything in this presentation. So if you need more detail on that, I will refer you to the website, or you can also send me your questions if you need. Revenue has also provided some relief for taxpayers in relation to filing tax returns. So individuals and businesses, in general, they should continue with filing their returns, even if the payment results in liabilities. But if they are not able to pay it, they should really contact the Revenue Office straight away and try to negotiate the payment terms. They are willing to cooperate, and really it's not a good idea to sit and wait and think that it will go away. Usually they are cooperative and they understand the difficult situation, so they will cooperate with you. So other important information, so if you are not able to calculate your VAT liability or your income tax liability in detail, you should just submit your return on a best estimate basis. And also one more update, the application of a surcharge for corporation tax returns for the accounting periods ending in June 19 onwards, it is suspended until further notice. What about tax payments and penalties? There are other measures for taxpayers who are experiencing tax payment difficulties. So the Revenue Office at the moment, they announced that all debt enforcement activities suspended until further notice. So they will not come to you and look for, old liability, and they will not charge you with penalties at the moment. And also they will not apply the interest on late payments in relation to January and February VAT returns and February and March PAYE returns. So if you are not in a position to pay your VAT liability for the previous period, January and February, you can postpone it and they will not penalize it for you. The same relates to February and March PAYE returns. What I already mentioned, and I will say it again, it's really very important that if you are experiencing any difficulties with timely tax payment, contact them as soon as possible. I'm sure they will work with you and they will find a viable solution. Access to funding, that's the hottest topic, I think. So the following state institutions have prepared really a number of financial support options for small businesses affected by the pandemic. So the information I'm going to present comes from their official websites, Local Enterprise Office, Enterprise Ireland, Department of Business, Enterprise and Innovation, and also from Banking and Payments Federation of Ireland. What's on offer? So the first one is Business Continuity Voucher, and it is available through Local Enterprise Office. So this scheme is designed for businesses across every sector, small businesses that employ up to 50 people. The value of the voucher is €2,500, and it can be used by both companies and sole traders, and mainly to cover consultancy fees needed to develop short-term or long-term strategies to respond to the crisis. So what exactly can you use this voucher for? You can use it, for instance, if you want to hire an external consultant to develop your business continuity plan, you can use the voucher to pay for it. The same with preparation of cash flow forecasts, emergency cash flow forecasts. You can pay your consultant using this voucher. It also it is relevant to assessment of current financial needs, to review your variable costs, overheads and expenses, to implement remote working processes or procedures, also to obtain HR advice in relation to retaining your staff or laying off your staff. You can also use it to prepare applications for funding to banks and other institutions. So I think it's really a good idea to apply for it. It's a quick application process. You can apply online on Local Enterprise Office website, and then they will contact you, an advisor will contact you, and they will work together with you to guide you through the application process. So it's really, really useful, and I would encourage you to try this one. Loans from Microfinance Ireland. They have provided a really useful facility, a lending facility to support small businesses in the pandemic period. So they offer quick loans for up to €50,000, which is twice the normal amount. Usually they offered micro loans up to 25,000 for micro businesses. Now it is increased to 50,000. That's quite a lot. The terms of the loan is up to 3 years, and very important, it is interest and repayment free for the first 6 months. So for the next half a year, you don't need to worry about the repayments. You get cash, you use it, and you don't worry about repaying it for 6 months. Who can qualify? Any micro business employing no more than 10 people and an annual turnover with maximum of 2 million. Also, your business has to be impacted by the pandemic. Your revenues has to reduce by at least 15% due to the pandemic. I think this is really majority of the businesses will qualify in this situation. 15% is not a lot, and I'm sure each of you, if you run a business, your revenues has reduced by at least that. And also there is another condition that generally you do not qualify to receive a loan from commercial banks in order to avail of this one. The application process is relatively quick and simplified. They have a simple website. You just go there, you download the application forms, you register your interest, and really very quickly an advisor contacts you, explains all the application process, guides you through it, and works with you in order to process the application. You will need to prepare a simple business plan and quite a simple cash flow forecast, and they provide templates for it. And you also need to provide bank statements sometimes for both yourself and your business for a 6-month period. And they also require a credit report for yourself. There is one thing to note here, that you can also apply through Local Enterprise Office, And if you do that, you will get a reduction of 1% in the interest rate. So the normal interest rate for the loan is 7.8%. And if you apply through local enterprise office, you will get 6.8%. Enterprise Ireland. They have a number of supports available to help businesses mitigate the impact of the pandemic. And here are the most important ones. I will not go into much detail for this one because there is really loads of information on their websites. So I will just refer you to the website and I'll just point what is on offer. So there is 200 million package for enterprise supports, including a rescue and restructuring scheme. And it is for viable but vulnerable firms that need to restructure due to the crisis. Another one, there is a grant called Finance in Focus, and the value of the grant is up to 7,200. It is available to Enterprise Ireland clients to support their financial planning. Another grant, which is called Be Prepared, the value is up to 5,000, and it is designed for Enterprise Ireland clients who would benefit from further research and external expertise in examining their exposure to the pandemic, to the crisis. I would really refer you to Enterprise Ireland website. It's packed with information, and there are loads of links to several places where you can learn more about funding available. Support from Department of Business, Enterprise and Innovation. Just to start with, they have a really good website. If you follow it, you will find a lot of information, not only about the support from this department, but it will guide you to many other places where you can learn more about the support for your business. So the most important one here is the credit guarantee scheme for COVID-19. The purpose of this scheme is to encourage additional lending to small and medium entities by offering a partial government guarantee to banks against losses on qualifying loans. So at the moment, the guarantee is 80%, and it is available to all eligible small and medium entities. So what are the most important features of the scheme? So the funding is in the region starting from 10,000 up to 1 million. The terms of the loan are up to 7 years. And who can qualify? As I mentioned earlier, micro, small and medium-sized enterprises who have fewer than 250 employees and a turnover of 50 million or less. They have to be independent, and they have to have less than 25% of their capital held by public bodies. So how can you apply? So the application process is through a participating lender who will make all the decision on approving the loans. So currently, Ulster Bank, the biggest banks in Ireland, Ulster Bank, Bank of Ireland and AIB are the participating bodies in the scheme. So the department itself plays no role in the application or decision-making process. It is fully delegated to the participating lenders. One more thing to mention here, that the Department of Business and Enterprise provides a very useful tool, which is called Business Continuity Planning Checklist COVID-19. So this checklist identifies some of the key risks for your business during this crisis, and it helps you to prepare to take necessary action to mitigate this risk. Again, you can just download it from their website, and I would really encourage you to try it because it can be helpful. You probably feel lost and you don't know what to do. So it is helpful because it gives you some guidance and structure in relation to what to do going forward. Financial support from Strategic Banking Corporation of Ireland. So what is offered here? Again, the loans available through AIB, Bank of Ireland and the Ulster Bank. Again, similarly to the previous scheme, the approval of loans are subject to the bank's own credit policies. So the main features: 200 million of working capital scheme is eligible for businesses affected. The loans between 25,000 up to 1.5 million are available. So it's really a lot. The maximum interest rate is 4%, and the terms of the loan between 1 year to 3 years. And similarly to the previous scheme, it is applicable to viable micro, small and medium businesses who have fewer than 250 employees and turnover of up to 50 million. How can you apply? So I think the best way is to apply through SBCI website. First, you need to complete a kind of an eligibility application form, and then they will do a first check if you can avail of it or not, and then you can take this form, their approval, and go to the bank to apply for the loan. Other support for businesses. So in terms of banking and loan repayments, the major banks in Ireland set out a joint plan to support both business and personal customers impacted by COVID-19. So what are they offering? First of all, a payment break of up to 3 months for businesses and personal customers affected. That's a very important one and a useful one. So if you have a mortgage, if you are a personal customer and you have a mortgage or a loan with any of the banks, you can now take a break from repaying it, a 3 months break, which is really no-brainer. So you don't really have to satisfy any particular condition. You just go to their website. At the moment, the major banks, AIB, Bank of Ireland and Ulster Bank, they have a very quick application procedure on their website. You just submit your main details and express your interest, and you just say that you have been affected by the pandemic and this is just a precaution, you want to take a break from repaying your mortgage or loan. So what else? It's very important that if you take this break, they are assuring that it will not affect negatively on your customer credit record, so you will not be placed on a blacklist or anything like that. One more small feature which is quite useful for individual customers is that the limit of contactless payments has been increased from 30 to 50 euro, which is very useful when you go for shopping every day, not every day at the moment. They are also saying that they will defer all court proceedings for 3 months for the worst period of the crisis, and they stand ready to provide working capital support. As mentioned earlier, they provide a lot of funding options for businesses. A very useful information about commercial rates deferral. The government agreed with local authorities, county councils, that they should defer rate payments due to the most immediately impacted businesses, which is primarily in the retail, hospitality, leisure, and childcare sectors. And they agreed to defer the rates for 3 months until end of May. So if you are renting premises from your county council, or if you are paying the rates, you should contact them as soon as possible to negotiate the deferral of the rates repayment. So it's important to note that it is up to each local county council to make a decision if they defer the payment or not. So just contact them, try to negotiate. In majority of cases, they they show understanding in the current situation, and they will try to support you during this time. However, if you can continue to pay your outstanding local authority rates, you should continue to do so in the normal way. What, in relation to limited companies operating in Ireland, the Companies Registration Office, CRO, announced on the 20th of March that annual returns due to be filed by companies from now up to the 30th of June will be considered as filed on time, obviously if they comply with all the requirements and they are filed by the 30th of June. So let's say your return is due on the 30th of April. If you file it by the 30th of June, they will still treat it as filed on time, and they will not charge you any penalties. That's the message here. So the purpose of this change is just to enable businesses to focus on obviously more immediate and more important challenges at this time. If possible, you should continue to file your annual returns as normal. So only in exceptional circumstances, they expect you to file it late. And similarly to the previous cases, more information can be found on CRO website. They update it quite regularly, so I would encourage you to go there and check their website on a regular basis. So it's time for the conclusion. To sum everything up, I just want to share this quote with you. The way to get started is to quit talking and start doing. I really like this quote, and I think there is no need to add anything else here. I will just say that the worst thing to do right now is do nothing. You just can't afford to do that. You can't afford to do nothing in this situation. So please take this information with you and make a good use of it. I know that there was a lot of information to process. There is a lot of information to process. And on the other hand, that's a good thing, because there is a lot of support available out there. So it was quite challenging to pack everything in this presentation. So as I said at the beginning, I'm going to send you a recording of this webinar to everyone who attended and to everyone who subscribed to, who registered for it. So you have it handy and you don't need to worry that you forgot about something. I will also send you a list of links to the website that I mentioned through this presentation, and you can use it as you need. If you still feel that you are stuck and you don't know where to go and you don't know what to do, this is what we can do, my company, myself can do for you immediately, and we will not charge you for it. We really understand that the circumstances are difficult, and we really want to help as much as we can. So this is what we can offer you immediately, free of charge. So first of all, we work using cloud software, totally remotely. So you will not have to contact us in person, which is very important in current circumstances. We can help you prepare a cash flow forecast for the next 12 months to make sure your business has sufficient money to go on. We can also advise you on financial help for your business in your particular case. And we can guide you on how to prepare relevant applications. We also offer online consultations of up to 60 minutes. Usually it is 30 minutes. We have increased it to 60 minutes, and it's absolutely free. So if you want to discuss anything, any worries, any concerns, you just give me a shout and I will schedule an online call, and you will be able to ask all your questions. You can see my contact details on the screen at the moment. So if you need any help, don't hesitate, just get in touch. There is no need to sit there and worry. We can just have a casual chat and talk about all your needs. So we have just come to the end of this webinar. Apologies if you feel it has been rushed. It's really a lot of information I wanted to pass on to you. And if you feel you would like, if you think there is an area you would like to get more information on, you can just let me know by email, and I will try to prepare. I can think of preparing another webinar and drilling more into more details. So I can see there are some questions popping up, but I'm afraid we will not have enough time to answer them at the moment. So please email me your questions. I will do my best to reply to you as soon as possible. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for attending. I really hope you enjoyed this webinar and you will find it useful. Just one last note. Please keep an eye on my emails and announcements on social media. I really encourage you to follow my profiles. I will be providing more advice and organizing more webinars to support you in this difficult time. And just before Easter, I am planning to do a webinar about preparing an emergency cash flow forecast. I will be showing you on screen how to do a forecast using my Excel spreadsheet. So it will be just literally a tutorial. I will also explain benefits of preparing a cash forecast. I'm really encouraging you to attend this one. So again, any questions, please email me. I hope you will stay in touch with me, and stay well and stay safe. Bye for now.